welcome back to another segment of Sherry's Metaphysical Corner. I'm Sherry. I hope you're all well as we finally move into this spring season. Oh my God, it's just been a long march. Okay, put your thinking caps on tonight and let's get ready. And again, for those that are new to these segments and unfamiliar with the modalities that I offer, I'm a sound practitioner using tuning forks and crystal bowls, but also an energy practitioner working with the Melchizedek and Reiki energy vibrations. So today's episode is on Biofield tuning with tuning forks, but a little deeper than we've talked about in the past. I thought I'd explain brainwave states, the history of tuning forks, and how I use them. So let's get started. Here's some interesting information for you about brainwave states. These are based on cycles per second, or the Hertz system. So just to give you an example, 1 Hertz is equal to 1 cycle per second. So 174 Hertz tuning fork moves at 174 cycles per second. So that's very fast, so you kind of get the idea. That's why these are so powerful. There are 5 brainwave states: gamma, beta, alpha, theta, delta. Gamma, this is the very alert state of awareness, high brainwave activity, ranging from 30 Hertz plus. Beta is the awake state of awareness, ranging from 14 to 30 Hertz. Alpha state, this is the state between awareness, the internal and external worlds, ranging from 8 to 13 Hertz. One feels very light, very still, but cognizant of the external world. Theta, this is the state of visions and dreams. We have no cognizance of the external world and ranges from 4 to 8 Hertz. Delta is associated with deep sleep, ranging from 0.5 to 4 Hertz. And here there's a lack of conscious awareness. So people in comas are said to range at least from a frequency of 0.5, if you can believe this, 0.5 Hertz. That's a very low range. So brainwave states can be measured. And they've done some studies on this. People that are in comas have actually come back and said that they could hear everything going on. They just weren't able to communicate with anybody, but they could actually hear. So there are states of being that we're still not quite aware of, all the information that there is out there with the brain. There's just so much going on. An electroencephalogram, or an EEG. This is a test that measures and records electrical activity in the brain. Humans can hear sound at frequencies from 20 Hertz to 20,000 Hertz, though we hear sounds best ranging from 1,000 to 5,000 Hertz. So this work is physics. You don't have to believe it for it to work. It just does. Now let me get into the history of where tuning forks began. In 1550 Italy, a physician, mathematician, and astrologer, Cardano, noticed how sound was being perceived through the skin. In 1553 Italy again, a physician, Capravacci, noticing this knowledge of sound being perceived through the skin, thought it might be used as a diagnostic tool for differentiating between hearing disorders located in the middle ear, the acoustic nerve, which is responsible for both hearing and balance. In 1684, German physician Schellhammer tried using a common cutlery fork to enhance the experiments that Cardano and Capravacci were working on. In 1711, royal trumpeter and lutist And a lutist is a very tiny guitar. It's about this big, very, very small. From England, John Shore, 27 years later, created the first tuning fork based on German physician Schellhammer's discovery using a common fork. And at that time, he lovingly and jokingly called it a pitchfork. It was made of steel and had a pitch of 423.5 hertz. And they do look like a pitchfork. And to this day, they still resemble a pitchfork. In the 1800s, so we're going to go back to early 1800 Germany, a German physician and musician, Ernest Chladni, along with others, constructed a complete musical instrument based on sets of tuning forks. And lastly, in 1834, J. Schiebler presented a set of 54 tuning forks ranging from 220 hertz to 440 hertz. So tuning forks had a rough beginning, starting from really a basic cutlery fork, but proved to be quite remarkable even in its early days, like magnets, very efficient and helpful in healing the physical body. And so for now, for those of you that have not been musically inclined, like myself, when I first started in this work, we're listening for frequency pitch. That would be overtones and undertones shifting in the field. Notes would be flats and sharps. There's your ups and downs. So as we continue, we have some charts for you. I know you like the charts, and I'll go into that in a little more detail in a minute. But this is what a flat and a sharp note look like. Flats are the lower range waves, sharps are the higher range waves. And at your request, my viewing audience, I will continue to bring up charts. I find it as helpful for myself as it is for you. So thank you for your responses and keep them coming. That really shows me that you are intrigued by this and are enjoying these educational shows. So thank you for that. So as we continue, I'm going to bring up another chart just for you. And this is another image on brainwave activity. So look at this closely. We're going to leave it up for a while. It shows brainwave activity from gamma waves to delta waves. Gamma being high-speed waves again, and they're close together. So they're like this, very close together, down to the delta wave. And the delta wave is a little bit more elongated. So it's like this. So it's very slow, very long and lengthy. And that represents a lack of conscious awareness. So people in comas, again, are said to be at less than 0.5 hertz. So when we're using tuning forks or crystal bowls, it actually brings a person to alpha state, one of the four that I mentioned earlier. The person that I'm working on at the time, if I'm using the tuning forks, they may feel light, they may feel relaxed, very mellow when they get off the table. So we are actually listening for the pitch change while we're working in the biofield, and I'll show you some demonstration on that in a moment. So this tells us there's incoherence or stuck energy in the field or static noise the body doesn't recognize. That's why it's stuck. So once we introduce a tuning fork, the body recognizes the distinction and goes to action to help balance itself out. So for example, a guitarist tuning his guitar to the key of C, but isn't quite finding it. Another friend of his, let's say, is going to join him, and he has his guitar tuned already to the key of C. We can actually hear the distinction when he starts to play it, and he can easily find the key of C in his guitar. So it's the same premise with the biofield. It doesn't recognize its own incoherent noise or static until we introduce a tuning fork to it. Then the clearing and the recalibration begins. So there are three types of tuning forks. The C scale, called the solar harmonic, the solfeggio, and the Fibonacci. I myself prefer the strikingly clear tones of the solfeggio, and that's this. It's a beautiful, fine-pitched tone to it. It's wonderful. The Fibonacci tones are used to open the consciousness. So that was a little history that I gave you there about the tuning fork's inception and the different brainwave states that we experience. So now, let's talk about how these instruments work with the biofield, the physical body, and their benefits. As most of you know, I've been studying and using sound vibration on the human body since 2008 with tuning forks and crystal bowls. But I started to study with forks in 2007 and researched several different practitioners' styles and techniques. And to date, I use a particular method developed by a woman in Vermont, Eileen McCusick. So I'm going to demonstrate now how I use the tuning forks in the field. There are two types of forks. There are the weighted forks or the drummed, and that's what these are. And you can't really hear these. But if I were to get a close-up shot of these, you would be able to see that is moving. The two drummed ends are moving. And that's okay if you can't see that. These we usually use on the physical body. They're very helpful for muscle knots in the neck, the shoulders, the lower back, sciatic nerve discomfort, and I've had a lot of success in these difficult areas. Great success. And the unweighted tuning forks. These we concentrate on the biofield or the aura out here. So this area is a little more tricky. The field of energy around the body has a compartmentalized membrane that has an encoded memory, like a backup file on a computer, actually. The information stored in this area is the same for everyone, male or female. It's the timeline that differs. So for instance, the emotion of sadness, grief, and loss is stored on the left side of the heart in varying stages of life. So let me give you an example. I'm going to use the tuning fork that I would normally use in the field at the heart chakra. So I'm going to be moving it through the field, coming close to the body. So in the field, let's just say I was at the 5-foot mark. That would be the birth line. Traveling through that is the journey of your life. So let's say this is the halfway mark. And then close to the body, that's present day. That's things going on right now. If I pick anything up in here that's a pitch difference. And then what we do at that point is we just hover, drop it right over the heart chakra, and just kind of let it sit there and integrate into the field. And then we just call them out away from the body. So what we're doing literally is we're listening for a pitch shift. And there is actually a little bit of a pitch shift, and you can see it close to my body. You can hear the difference. And it's not as strong as it was, but I'm still going through actually a loss of someone. My father left a year ago, very unexpectedly, so I'm still going through the grieving of that. So everybody grieves at that point in their life, and you can usually pick that frequency up, and this helps enormously. So we just pull it in, tuck it in, hover over the heart chakra, let it integrate in, so it's pulling the frequency up, not staying stuck, and then we pull it away. So that is what we're doing primarily at each one of the 7 chakras, going all the way down to the feet. That's how we clear. We do one whole side, and we come around and do the other side, and then ground a person. So that's pretty much how we work with the biofield and the straight edge. These are for the body itself. These are for the biofield. Very, very helpful. So depending on when something took place in someone's life, this area, as we were just talking about, near the heart, that isn't just limited to just death information. It can also be something that was very grief stricken, like if somebody got divorced or lost a job or they moved across country. I mean, sometimes when you get a brand new job and you move across country and it's a beautiful new beginning, you can still have discord and discoherence in your field because it's upsetting. You're leaving your friends, you're leaving colleagues that you were friendly with, family members. So even good things can still bring on a little bit of an upset in your field. So that's where these come in so handily. It's just amazing. So when we start working on the biofield and we start to give someone a session, we do start always at the 5-foot mark. That's your free edge away from the body. And everybody's free edge is 5 feet away. 5 feet on the left, 5 feet on the right, 2 feet above, 2 feet beneath you. That being the birth line where we start, and we comb, like I just showed you, toward the body. And that would be the journey of life. And then we end at present day, right close to the body. So in this field of energy around us, we can create static energy from challenges, stress, traumas that we experience during life, and it can remain stuck. That's why we're finding disturbances in here and we're listening for pitch shifts. It's just stuck energy that we're helping itself release itself and can become heavy, forcing your organs to work harder or even become ill if they stay out of sync for any extended time. So again, your physical body has a specific frequency that it is vibrating at, and all of your organs in the body have their own specific frequency for your body, for every individual body. So if you have too much going on in your field, too much static, too many ripples of energy out here, of noise, your organs are working harder. They're working overtime. That's when they start to become ill. So in the aura or the biofield, the forks will actually balance the nervous system. It improves energy flow, bringing balance by removing static and incoherence to entrainment or balance, and heightens our spiritual connection. So it's amazing work. Science and holistic alternatives are catching up. In the last several decades, they were used to just tune musical instruments. But because they generate such strong vibrations, they were also adopted by healers, massage therapists, chiropractors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So as we continue, I'm going to show you some more charts, and I'm going to show you one next on Meridian Lines, just so you have an idea of how the chi or the life force energy moves through our bodies. So we have a chart, and it's showing the Meridian Lines so that we're all clear on how they work. Here you can actually see the path the life force energy is following. They're like veins that bring blood through the body. They bring the life force energy through the body. And they can become blocked as well, just like the blood can become blocked in the veins and you have a blood clot. We can have blocks in the meridian line. Again, that's what helps the organs stay fresh and stay high vibration. If there's blocks, they're becoming depleted. And next, there's no chart here, just so that you know. And I'll explain how the different frequencies and their properties work. So certain frequencies are healing for the body. And as we use healing frequencies on the body, the mind and body vibrate in harmony, hence entrainment. So I'm going to just give you a few examples. I'm going to just throw out there a few figures for you of different frequencies and what they stand for, what they represent. So a 285 hertz fork signals the cells in tissue to start healing. A 396 hertz fork, liberates guilt and fear. 417 hertz fork allows the undoing of challenging situations. A 528 hertz fork. Now this is said to heal the DNA, repair cells, and awaken consciousness. I've done some tremendous work with the 528 fork, and it does do a lot. It's amazing. So when somebody gets off the table, when we've done some work on them with this, if they've had some real stuck energies, there's been a big difference. The 639 hertz fork This is associated with the heart and allows feelings of love for self as well as for others. And there's just so many people that are stuck. Let me just give you an example. The world today, we have been kind of raised with, it's not enough. You're just not enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not short enough. You're not tall enough. You're not wide enough. You're not thin enough. You're not going to be this enough. You're not that enough. You didn't do enough. Everything has been not enough up until now. So there's just been so many people working so hard to be enough and to be whatever society thinks we should be. We are enough. Let me just tell you this right now. You are enough just as you are. You are enough. And for people that get stuck and have, difficult, challenging home lives when they are raised as children, this has helped enormously to unlock stuck static that's just sitting there. It's just aching to come out because it doesn't know, again, it doesn't know that it's got stuck vibration in there. So when we bring a tuning fork to that person, it really helps move them along. A 741 hertz clears cells and heals from exposure to electromagnetic radiation, which is visible light, radio waves, gamma rays, X-rays, etc., etc., etc. Very helpful. 852 hertz fork awakens intuition. And then lastly, the 963 hertz fork. This activates the pineal gland. And I could go on and on and on about the pineal gland. I mean, this is a subject that I could spend a whole hour on. And I did do some talking about this, our last segment. So if you get a chance to pull up the last segment, do try to, because it's fascinating. The pineal gland has Egyptian ties to it. If you go back in history, there's a lot to that. And it's the only gland that's not connected to the nervous system, for one thing. And in the brain, the pineal gland is right smack in the center of the brain, right here, right in the center. And it's very, very tiny. And it's this position, left and right. And it's only the shape of it is like a pine cone, a tiny little pine cone. But it's very tiny, and it's in this position. And if it's calcified, it stays in this position. And the way it stays calcified is through fluoride, toothpaste with fluoride, or lots of chemicals that we use, cleaners, things like that around the house, helps to calcify it so it can't actually do this. When it does shift, it just means that we can connect to the higher realms, the divine source, so to speak, and open our consciousness. We can literally open our conscious mind to receive more messages or just to receive more information about our own path and where we're going. It's a clear message. Check it out. Go to Google. The pineal gland is actually in the center. It's very, very small, but it's in the center of something that's about this big, and it actually looks like an eye. So check it out. So that's just a few of many that I wanted to go over with you and give you some information on. So now let me give you a general description of how timelines work in the field with this method. So here we have another chart, and this shows the biofield, or the aura, around the body. So imagine this, a bubble around your body that expands 5 feet in diameter on both sides. So it's 5 feet this way, it's 5 feet that way, 2 feet up, 2 feet beneath your feet. All human beings have this field of energy, even plants and animals. Not as large as humans, but they do have one. So on occasion, if one had a bad day, and someone is standing near enough to you, they could possibly feel the tension you're holding, and vice versa. So this is where we hold stuck vibrations, is in this biofield, or the aura. So I'm going to show you a couple more charts. This is on the chakra charts. And now as we start to bring the show to a close, unfortunately, I'll briefly go over the chakra centers with you and show you another chart representing the front and back. So you'll notice in these charts, we have 7 chakras. They run up and down the front and back of the spine. They are cylindrical and cone-shaped. The energy running through them and around the body is called, again, the chi, or the life force energy. And I know I sound redundant, but I want it to stick. So if I keep repeating it, you'll get it. It moves through meridian lines that actually fuel the physical body and the organs, keeping them in harmony. The energy actually comes through the back of the body. It comes from the back to the front. So it actually flows like this through the back chakras out the front. Okay? So the back chakras are the receiving receptors. The front chakras are the giving to the world centers. The back chakras, the receptors that are for receiving, oftentimes I find with people that are caregivers or nurses, energy practitioners of any kind, these are messy or blocked. And it's just simply due to their overdoing. They're giving too much. They're giving, and they're not really pacing themselves. So they're not holding the energy that's coming through from the back. And then this, in turn, creates imbalance in their own system. So I work on a lot of people that are energy givers, like I just explained. So however, the back centers are worked on intermittently to help keep them open and clear, although we don't have to clear them every single time a person comes in like we do the front. So the tuning forks produce overtones and undertones that you can actually hear. And again, there's your flats and your sharps that we talked about earlier. They intersect with the acoustic vibrations of the body, allowing the forks to find specific static charges and incoherence in the field where there's distortion, then balance the body's electrical system. So in short, the tuning forks and crystal bowls help bring balance and harmony to distorted frequencies found by raising, clearing, smoothing vibrations. Well, I guess it is that time. I'm getting the high sign. So we've come to the close of this segment. But I hope that you found Biofield tuning helpful and educational. You can find more information on this work and my monthly sample clinics on my website, energyworkstudio.com, or you can contact me at energy4522@gmail if you have any questions. So till next time, stay tuned, stay connected, journey with sound. Thank you.